A Buddhist monk is expected to renounce worldly possessions and embrace strict spiritual asceticism. But the head of China's most famous temple is currently facing the kind of legal catastrophe usually reserved for billionaire corporate executives. In March 2026, prosecutors indicted former Shaolin Abbot Shi Yong-sing on 4 severe criminal charges. The newest addition to the list is bribery, a crime that carries a potential life sentence under Chinese law. Over his 26-year tenure, Xi built an inner circle that looked less like a monastery and more like the World Economic Forum. He regularly held meetings with global heads of state and tech titans like Apple's Tim Cook, earning him a highly accurate nickname, the CEO Abbot. He took a 1,500-year-old sacred Zen Buddhist site and engineered it into a massive, secular, multinational franchise. His sudden arrest has completely rattled the global religious community. Curious tone. This diagram shows the timeline of the allegations, and it highlights a massive contradiction. Every detail in the 2026 indictment about embezzlement, mistresses, and illegitimate children was actually leaked to the public by internal whistleblowers 11 years ago, back in 2015. Back then, authorities investigated the leaks and quietly dismissed the entire case in 2017, citing insufficient evidence. Shi Yongxin kept his job, kept his power, and even secured promotions within the state-backed Chinese Buddhist Association. Today, the state's approach is entirely different. The current police investigation is being handled out of Xinjiang, a city that is entirely bypassing the local Zhangzhou authorities to avoid regional interference. That specific procedural maneuver requires high-level, direct political will from Beijing. If the Chinese government had the exact files on his crimes a decade ago, why did they protect him then? And what exact action triggered his execution order today? To understand his survival, you have to look at a system called political Buddhism. In China, a recognized religious leader is effectively a state-sanctioned bureaucrat. Their primary job is to ensure their institution strictly aligns with party ideology. This network map shows exactly how Shi Yong-sing mastered that role. He built out 8 distinct affiliate companies, covering real estate, martial arts, and tourism, spanning 40 countries. By donating $3 million to build an Australian branch, he was directly exporting Chinese soft power. Domestically, he was completely integrated into the state apparatus. He served 9 consecutive terms as a delegate to the National People's Congress, China's top legislative body, and held the vice presidency of the Buddhist Association. His commercial dominance and loud political loyalty created an incredibly thick layer of armor. As long as he remained a highly effective tool for the party's global united front, his financial corruption was the tolerated cost of doing business. That arrangement held together until February 2025. Shi Yong-sing led a private delegation of Shaolin monks into Vatican City for a meeting with Pope Francis. If you review the visual records of that meeting, there is a glaring omission. There was not a single Chinese government official in the room to monitor the interaction. Beijing heavily restricts contact between domestic religious figures and foreign religious heads. Stepping outside official diplomatic channels is treated as a direct challenge to the Chinese state's absolute monopoly on foreign affairs. The fallout was rapid. 3 months later, in May 2025, Pope Francis passed away and was succeeded by a much more conservative American pope. Shi Yong-sing immediately lost his usefulness as an unofficial backchannel to Rome, and the government swiftly established a permanent state management office inside Shaolin. The authorities didn't suddenly wake up in 2026 and discover his financial crimes. They arrested him because he attempted to conduct his own foreign policy. Once he crossed that strict red line, those dormant files from 2015 became ready-made weapons to purge him. Today, the reality on the ground at Mount Song is completely different. The state has forced a harsh decommercialization campaign, tearing down the lucrative tourist traps and causing a massive drop in visitor numbers. The autonomy of the Abbot's office has been entirely erased. A government-run Shaolin Temple Management Office now operates directly on the grounds, placing the entire complex under strict bureaucratic control. The high-priced incense stalls are gone, but the global spotlight on the temple is actually larger than it's ever been. Only now, the world isn't watching a martial arts exhibition. They're watching the criminal trial of its former CEO. It is easy to look at this indictment and see the legal system working, or a return to strict religious purity, but the facts don't support that reading. This is a textbook political liquidation, dressed up as a moral crusade. The hammer only fell when a highly protected asset finally exhausted his political value to the state. The real issue here isn't the specific actions of one corrupt monk. It is the institutional framework that knowingly permitted an executive to operate as an untouchable religious monarch for a quarter of a century, simply because he was useful. The collapse of the Shaolin Empire is a perfect reflection of modern China's approach to belief. As long as faith is engineered to be a managed state tool, removing one CEO Abbot simply clears the desk for the next one.